That time again, and we're live. So let me get on the big screen and see who comes in to have a chat with us. So let's see who's popping in. Let's get this on the mute. We've got it on the big screen so far. So we've got 4 people here. Thank you very much for coming in. How is everyone? Let's see who's here. Yusuf Bhai, Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. How are you keeping? Mike's allotment. How are you doing, man? Thank you very much for coming. How are you keeping? What's going on, everyone? How's the weather treating you? Frank Caldwell's here. Frank, I don't know if you've seen the picture in the group, but we did our first potato harvest today, so that's not bad. Um, Leslie, how are you doing? And we got Erwin from Three Wheels and a Block. How are you doing, man? Thank you very much for coming in. It's great. It's chucking it down. See, we had some rain yesterday, and all we've had for the last couple of days is non-stop wind. But we had a bit of rain yesterday. Uh, yeah, the ground's really soaked in that rain. But I had a scratch around on the mulch today, and it's barely gone past the mulch layer. The rain. So we need a lot more than that. And my potato beds are completely dry. Apart from the first couple of inches, they're completely dry once you get a bit further in because the foliage is so big. So we need a lot more than that. I just need these winds to die down though. So all good. I hope you're also doing well. We're not doing bad. We got our first potato harvest today, so I'm happy with that. Um, so it's 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels like 99 degrees, so that's nice and warm. Have you got? Is it is it sunshine or what's it like over there, or is it just humid or what is it? So Mike's allotment, they've got thunder and lightning. Nice. Esoteric truth is here. Hello. Something about Matthew 5:48. Okay, that'll be interesting. We had a massive downpour. Do you have a lot of rain yesterday, Leslie? Because we had some sporadic, quite heavy showers. So they came on and then they were off again. They did that. It did that quite a bit yesterday. So it was raining, then stopping, then raining, then stopping. Um, Plain Spotting Aviation's here. How are you doing? Ray is here with his new channel name, Homegrown Vegetable Garden. How are you doing, mate? And we've got the Bish in the house. Fish with Bish is here. See, Bish, you missed my yeah, so we've got someone quoting Bible verses. Okay, okay, that's fine. um, that's throwing me off a little bit now. Um, so, Bish, you missed my first live stream back after a 5 weekish break, and you missed me last week, man. We missed you as well. So, very windy out this morning. My tomatoes in uh, in a vase, and my tomatoes have fallen over and smashed. Okay. Oh, how bad are they, Ray? Because I'm quite. We've got our tomatoes out. I'm not happy with what's happening with my gourds and stuff because they're looking like they've had a good battering. So Mike's allotment is saying hello to Bish. You want to see my biceps? uh, don't. Uh, uh, didn't miss miss it. I avoid. So Bish didn't miss it deliberately. He avoided it. Look, he deliberately avoided it. Look at that. Guys, if you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like. Let's get that like count up a little bit. Um, Sorry, I miss you. Like Nick, Nick's allotment diaries here. Nick, how are you doing? Not a problem at all. How are you keeping? How's your mum? Uh, Only one plant as experiment, not that. Do not see. I've got a lot of. I've got about six. Well, I've got most of my tomatoes planted out actually. Yeah, most of my tomatoes are planted out. They're not doing that bad. They're not doing that bad at all. The ones in the pots, they're probably about 3 foot high now, and some of them I've got fruit set on quite a few of them. So hopefully, as soon as July comes in, I'll start having some ripe tomatoes. But the ones in the ground, some of them aren't looking too good, just because they've gone through a little bit of a battering, and this drop in temperatures seems to not. A lot of veg seem to have gone backwards. So took your advice and repot my tomatoes deep, and they seem to be doing better. That's good. That's really good. Dean's lost the plot, is it? Dean, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. So let's do this. So Yusuf, you've changed. Um, Joking aside, sorry I missed you. Not a problem, man. Not a problem. I hope you had something better to do and you didn't just forget about me. Who else is here? So Dean's liked and late. See, Dean, I was late today. I was about a minute and a half late, I think. um, See, that's it, Leslie. What time do you call this? And Dean's getting told off. I'm playing on the new game. What game have you got? My spuds look like they did 12 rounds with Tyson. See, that's what my gourds are looking like, Frank. Because some of them, the leaves have just completely. Some of the leaves have been shredded. Some of the and some of my courgettes seem to have just gone yellow overnight. We forecast another night of 7 degrees. So we've had 7 degrees yesterday. No, day before yesterday, 7 degrees. Yesterday it was about 8. Tomorrow it's going to be 7, and the day after it's going to be 7 again. So I don't know what it's going to be like. So the Jedi Fallen Order, is that a PlayStation game? David Carlisle's here. Thank you very much for coming in. How are you keeping? Sam's Allotment Diaries here. Did you grow the kodu last year? And if so, did it taste good? We grow them every year. I've got some harvest videos, and I've even got some cooking videos on the channel. So if you want to go and have a look at them, and they taste delicious. Yeah, I fancy myself as a bit of a cook as well, so we do a bit of cooking every now and then. One of my new hydrangeas has gone yellow over the last few weeks for some reason. Do hydrangeas like acidic soil? Are they one of them? Or is it the change? No, no, they change colours when they're acidic and when they're alkaline, don't they? That's what they do. Scrapping Irish is here. How are you doing? I'm still waiting for my pot of gold, man. What do I mean? He's gonna give me a mountain of gold at one point soon. Brian's here. Brian from Allotment Life. How are you doing? Have you had your mountain of gold yet? Um, you'd be proud. I've grown some veg. What have you grown? Do you want to come and say hello to everyone? You can say hello if you want. Dave can come and say hello in a bit as well.
Hi.
Okay, leave him then if he's doing his homework. So I threw some old spuds and spring onions in the wormery, and the potato plant lifted the lid off, and the onions have
Where did you left that?
have plumped up again.
Near him.
No, it's in the kitchen.
So he's so Bish has accidentally grown some potatoes. That's all right. I was supposed to do lots of sowing today, but couldn't get around to it. Gonna do lots of sowing tomorrow. See, Yusuf, do you know when it's windy and it's horrible,
He's in the box.
and there's not much to do in the garden? The thing I do is I go and start playing with my compost.
Papa.
I just go and sit and mess about with my. I don't know if Brian was answering me or read my mind, but yeah, I'll go and play with my hosmuck.
Frank's here.
Lots of people are saying hello to everyone. Yeah, so I sifted off from my rough compost to my smooth, to my really fine compost. I sifted off about half a builder's bag full today. So that's what I do. I just sit with my little hand sieve and just sit and sift that off. Leslie's saying hello to you.
I'm making a little pet thing. I got two of my toys, got two bubbles to put them on the toys. Then I'm making these little hat and badges and sticking them on the toys and using bad what are these called again?
That's a charger.
The charger wires to use them, like as the string and pull them. And I'm writing the names down.
So Yusuf's had a very productive day, but he's just not been in the garden. Ismail Karoli's here. Assalamu alaikum. See, I didn't see you come in.
Where?
He's saying hello, Khadija.
Oh.
So, do you collect the rainwater or do you just use tap water? Mainly rainwater. So we've got a few massive water butts, and I collect loads of rainwater in buckets and in. I've got this IBC tote worm bin. So I've got this massive worm bin. It's made out of an IBC tote cut in half, and it's turned up. So the top is turned in onto the bottom. So the bottom acts as a container for rainwater. So what I do is if I collect water in buckets and stuff, I pour it through the wormery and all the leach and all the stuff that comes out of the worm juice, and it collects in the bottom, and then I can just tap that off and then use that to water my plants. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it's absolutely. I put some fresh horse manure in the other day. And the juice, it was like gravy. It was coming out and it was nice and thick, and it was absolutely like gravy.
Did it look like gravy as well?
Yeah, it looked like gravy. It didn't smell like it though. Can you do a video making a wormery? Yeah, I've got a video on my wormery if you want to have a look at that, and if that doesn't do it, then tell me and we'll do something separate, because that's the only wormery I've got. I've got one worm bin, and it's just a massive IBC tool. So have a look at that video. It's called Wiggest. It's called the biggest worm bin ever. Have a look at that and see what you think. If that doesn't answer your question, then tell me and I'll do another one. Can you give some chili advice? I'm going to start growing chili seeds tomorrow. Perhaps you can touch one easy. So yeah, I don't want to go into that right now, if that's all right. But it's coming. It's coming. I promise you. If you want me to say something on that, just private message me. But G.
I'll show you what I made and it's done.
Okay.
And I just need to make this one.
Okay, sweetheart. Can you close that door, Baba? Yeah. So easy access. Easy access. What do you mean easy access? Same again tonight. Just listening as I'm decorating, applying damp seal. We saw your handiwork. So Sam's wallpapered over a load of red paint. it looks really nice actually. He's done some patterned wallpaper, and he's saying he's done it for the first time. But if you look at Sam's plot and how neat and tidy that is, you can imagine how his wallpaper job is as well. So he's doing a nice job. Um, I'm looking to make a small wormery. You can use the same concept. Do you know? I like a tiered wormery. So if you put like a bucket with a tap at the bottom, and then you can tier it. Let me see. Let me see if I can get hold of some buckets, and then I'll see what I can do. But it's a. Are you in our family garden group? Because Thomas, if you know, I'm not gonna pronounce his surname, but he's done a lot of wormery videos. If you're in our Facebook group, I'll add you to that. What fruit trees do you have, and why don't you have any plum or cherries? I've got apples, I've got pears, I've got plum, I've got one plum, I've got one cherry, I've got two apples, two pears, I've got a couple of Sharon fruits, a fig.
This is
Um,
what you done.
okay. So she's walking a Pokemon around with a charger lead.
Isn't that a Pokemon? Just a teddy.
Is that not Pikachu?
No, that's not
Okay.
Pikachu.
Okay then.
Pikachu has like these ears.
Daisy Nation's here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. It was a typo. Okay, so easy to get hold of. Okay. Okay. Don't mention decorating, Sam. My wife's decided she no longer likes the cladding on the whole stairs and landing. Frank, you said you were bored. So Frank, you said you were bored, so hopefully that'll keep you busy. Have you noticed you can't check each other's channels by clicking on the channel name in live chats? Can't you do that anymore? Because if you do that, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Ashley's allotment is here. How are you doing, Ashley? Thank you very much for coming in. See,
Where's
Sam,
Ashley?
I think. Do you know those? Do you know when people were doing all those 1, 2, 3,
Where's
let's grow
Ashley?
live streams? Yeah, I think YouTube cottoned onto that, and they made a lot of changes after that. I hit the like. Thanks, David, for hitting that like for me. If anyone else hasn't hit that like, please hit that like for me. Shamsuddin is here. Assalamu alaikum. Just started gardening this year. Watching a lot of your videos for inspiration. Thank you very much. There's a lot of other good gardening channels in here as well. What are you growing? If you ever need any questions, we've got a Facebook group, so you can pop in on there, and it's called My Family Garden. Hashtag Team Spanner. Oh. Yeah. So if you ever have any questions or anything, there's loads of people that are willing to help in there. They're a good bunch as well. So I just had to refresh. Got the ad for trimming the mat.
Oh, look at this.
Just had to refresh. Got the trimming the man garden. What? Makes it harder to know what each other's chat. Yeah. What's 1, 2, 3 chats? Do you know those Let's Grow channels, or Let's Grow live streams that are just talking about let's try and build a sub type of channels? Yeah, those kind of live streams. YouTube made a lot of changes because of them. Amber Mysteries, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Gardening is fun. It absolutely is fun. Yeah, we love it. There's loads of mad gardeners in here. So say hello to everyone. Yeah, hang on. Cedarholic Gardens is here. Hope, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I saw your squash video today. So you've got loads and loads of squash planted. And I love the fact that you're growing extra for loads of other people as well. You know, people who are suffering from food insecurity. I love that. Absolutely love it. Like won't work. I broke it. So Brian, no wonder I'm way behind on my likes. So we've got 22 people, 14 likes. If you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like. Can you give a shout out to Sajmir? The poor guy was worried sick about his plants at 3 a.m. Is he in here? Bring that back. Is he in here? Is Saj in here? because I saw his message after just when I was going back to sleep after Fajr. So yeah,
Ah,
so who else have we got? Suffolk Susie's here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. How are you keeping? My channel is rubbish, so each of you, so each if you must. See, Ray's a bit of one of those undercover ones, so he's putting out a lot of good content and he's doing really well at the minute. So don't believe him. He's yeah.
rolling
So you're
back.
trying to grow hodu and uri. What? How big are your plants so far? And how are they doing with this wind? Exactly, Brian. There's no wrong with his channel. Absolutely, absolutely right. He, do you know? Have you seen those politician types when they before they start giving a really
Whoops.
before they start putting on a speech, they build themselves up by talking themselves down. I think he's doing that. uh, so where we got? So Amber Mysteries is saying hello to everyone. Dean's lost the plot is mad. uh, yeah, exactly. His channel's not rubbish at all. Squashy, squashy. I love it. I'm waiting to pull my garlic before I plant my squash. So hopefully, if we get a bit of sun, if we get a couple of days of sun, and so I can dry my garlic, yeah, I'm gonna get all my garlic planted. I'm wonderful. How are you? Thank you. I'm gonna need some recipes, not too spicy, but flavor, please. If you like fish, I did a video last year on cooking squash with, well, it was a gourd, but you can use the same thing with squash. It'll just be a bit sweeter. I'm growing your gourds next year, Monty. The rats are fat. um, I'm growing. Let's see. So not very big so far. Guess I started a bit late this season. Hopefully we'll do better next year. Are you in your? Yeah, I'm in Leeds. So no, there's plenty of time. Shamsuddin, there's plenty of time at the moment. So you'll get your plants going. Inshallah. They're not. See, last year I planted some in June, mid June, because yeah, I planted some in mid June. Maybe even towards the end of June, and I got fruit in early September, October. So as long as you look after them, they'll be all right. He's a northern, of course, and he's mad. How old are you? You have young man energy. I am a young man. Don't let this beard fool you. See, how do I give the live broadcast a like? Brian Lalaway, how are you doing? I think this is the first time I've seen you in this live stream. Very welcome. Uh, Thank you very much for coming in. If you close the chat, it's just under the screen, and then you can open the chat up again. Suffolk Susie, say 30 or so transplanted this week for summer squash. Transplanted pumpkins yesterday, plus seeded some winter ones. I also planted courgettes, tomatoes, chilies, cucumbers, beans, potatoes, radish, dhania, squash. So you're not messing about then, are you? You're not messing about at all. That'll be all right. That'll give you a nice harvest this year, inshallah. Um, we'll we'll be happy at 1K. How far away are you, Ray? Somebody else. When did you come in? I didn't even say hello to you. I think I saw you earlier, but I didn't say hello to you. Sorry about that. When is the next? When is it best to sow some garlic cloves? I saw mine about October, November time. So I'd wait till then now. I think this is too late for this season. So let's go up a little bit. Um, so Ian Matthews is here. So he's crossed the border all the way from Lancashire and he's coming into our territory, Frank. Let's give him a good old Yorkshire welcome. Thanks very much for coming in, Ian. Any tips on how to get my coriander thick? Get them thick. What do you mean? Are the stems quite thin or are they planted quite thin? I watched an awesome YouTube video by a chap in Ireland on how to grow cucumbers. It was unreal how quickly they grew along with the yields. Ah, very interesting. So who was that? It wasn't it wasn't Red Gardens, was it? Because he's very good. He's very good. My daughter said randomly yesterday, "Daddy, your voice is dull." Ray, don't worry about it. My son tells me my YouTube channel is boring all the time.
What is it?
So yeah, uh, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm gonna say wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much for coming in. Uh,
He said
Olu
randomly
Olu
yesterday.
de
Dad, your voice
Lord.
is too.
Olu de Lord. I hope I haven't completely messed up that name, and if I have, I do apologise. Um, but thank you, wa alaikum assalam, and thank you very much for coming in. Catherine Ivy's here. How are you doing? Can I have some advice about? Can anyone advise anything about anything interesting that can still be planted and harvested at this time of year? I think you can still plant runner beans. Yeah, you can still get away with planting beans. Go go for bush beans. You know, the bush type, the dwarf type. They'll fruit and they'll do well at this time of year. You can still plant things like courgettes. Still plant potatoes. What else? Anything in the cabbage family you can still plant. Lots of lettuce, coriander. There's loads of stuff. Absolutely loads of stuff. What is it you like, and what is it you want to grow? Somebody else is cool. Yusuf, when did you start? So the girl gardener's here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Another live. I planted out a whole bunch of stuff, and the wind's been ripping through them. Tomatoes, cucumbers, courgettes, squash, beans, chilies, peppers. How windy is it where you are at the minute? Because we're having 40-mile-an-hour winds at the moment, and I'm not a happy bunny. My squash, sorry, my gourds look like they've been battered. Some of the leaves are completely shredded, and some of my courgettes have started to turn yellow. So I'm not quite best pleased at the moment. So Ray's 100 away from 1,000. So if anyone doesn't know Ray, that's homegrown vegetable gardening. Do go and say hello. So Rahman Raj is here. Assalamu alaikum. Not a problem. I was covering the gourd with plastic. Good man. See, I've been talking about covering it with plastic, and I think I'm just going to leave it. A couple of days won't harm them, I don't think, as long as we get a good pickup in the weather very quickly afterwards. If the weather picks up, if the weather turns and it gets better, then I think they'll survive. But if the weather stays bad, then we're in for a bit of trouble. So Cedarholic Gardens, Hope saying, I think I come from the further still.
Finger there.
Yeah, I can put, yeah. Let's see what's going on here. I think I'm falling way behind in the chat, and if I am, I do apologise. Not sure of the chaos, but he knew he was doing. Okay, I'm not sure what that comment's from. They're growing thin. Do I keep them? Do I keep putting them to try and make them dense? But it keeps bolting. See, what I do is I always grow coriander in batches. So I'll grow a little, like a little plant pot. So I'll grow some in there, and then harvest, a week or two later, plant another pot, and just keep them in pots, and then you can just harvest as and when you need. So rather than worry about them bolting, you just chop them completely down, and if they grow again, some will give you a second set of leaves, some will bolt after you've cut them down. But then you can keep them in a bit of a cooler place as well, out of the heat. So that's what I do with the coriander. I don't always grow them in the ground. So Frank's not that bored to do the decorating. Uh, Sorry, got to go. Dad taxi. Bish, you take care. And if we're still on when you're back, we'll see you then. This month is the last chance for certain varieties of butternuts. I might visit you one day. I'm not very far from you. I'm in Burnley, Lancashire. PS, I've planted loads of perennials. Nice. I used to spend a lot of time in Lancashire and Burnley as well. So yeah, so 28 watching, but not enough likes. Please hit that like. Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like. So we've had a message deleted. I'm not sure what happened there. So I have two tubs of spuds going. Yeah, well, you want to come in and say hello to everyone?
But I thought kids were
You can come and say hello if you want. Come
Assalamu
on. So I have two tubs of spuds going in tomorrow, along with some more broad beans. We've done with the last quick crop. They're a gardening company actually. Those guys. So they sell a lot of gardening products as well. So that channel's more about advertising their business. Um, how do the shops get coriander so nice? I think they do it the way I do it in the pots. uh, you're welcome and come to visit me. I wanted to get out and about this year, so let's see once lockdown finishes what I can do. Brian Lalloway saying my Swiss chard and beetroot just got battered by hailstones. Hope they pick themselves off the soil. If some of the leaves stick to the soil, just cut them back and they'll grow. Once Swiss chard's established its roots, it'll bless you all the way through till spring, late spring next year with harvest. It's a good plant. I love that stuff. My pumpkin survived a hard frost, but now slow growing. I feel you on that one. Succession planting. Um, Hope, what about it? Are you doing some succession planting, or do you want someone to talk about it? um, I've got some lettuce coming out, but it's a bit limp. Any idea what it might be? Um, have you got it? Is it well watered? Um, if it's as long as it's well watered, it should be okay. But and check for bugs as well, because aphids can cause issues on on leaves that go limp. Aphids can be one of the causes of that. So check for that. Um, Jane Kelly's here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Have I missed everything? I don't think so. We're about halfway through, but we'll keep going for another half an hour or so. I think after Friday the weather will start to warm up. I'm hoping so, um, but I just hope it's not like last year because last year when in June it was just a complete washout. It was rainy. It was cold. Um, I remember having to wear a jumper outside in the garden. So I just hope it's not like that. I've grown Swiss chard the first time. Found I don't like it. Neither does my partner or my stepdaughter. So 20 chard plants going in the compost. If anyone's got any chickens, they'll love that. Um, don't you find it similar to spinach? Shamps, that's good. Still six short. Yeah, if you haven't hit that like, please hit that like for me. Um, so, have you ever grown aubergine successfully? I've got some aubergines growing. I've got some aubergine this year. I'm gonna grow some aubergines in. I grow aubergines every year in my greenhouse. So some of them are already starting to flower. The ones I've got in my hotbed. So Brian, you were right about that bottom heat. They're really doing well. Some of my aubergines in my hotbed, they're almost 3 foot tall. They're flowering. They're about to flower. There's a lot more to go into the ground of the greenhouse, and I'll do that once I've got the rest of the gourds and stuff and the squash and everything out from inside and planted out. So probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'll get them planted in. But what else? And I've got some aubergines growing in pots that I'm going to grow outside as well. So we'll see how that does. So smoothies for your Swiss chard. I was referring to your coriander. Yeah, hope that's exactly right. That's what I do with the. See, that's what I've done with my beans as well. So I've sowed some beans at the start of April. They're they're taller than me now. We got them planted out last week. and they're really taking off. They're taller than me, and I've got some other ones that I planted out a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, a couple of weeks later, and then a couple of weeks later, and they're starting to take off. But I'm having a think about the ones that I planted direct compared to the ones that that I've got that I planted in the pots. In mid-Mayish, because I planted my seeds in into the ground at the end of April, early May, and the ones that have come up, they're already doing better. The ones that came up in place are doing better than the ones that are transplanted from pots. So I'm wondering what's going on there. See, Nick saying I must admit I'm not so keen on Swiss chard. Do you know chard? I like it better than spinach because spinach has that sort of irony, funny taste at the end of it. Do you know, it's like it got a funny aftertaste. But with Swiss, Swiss, Swiss chard is a bit. I can't even say it now. It's a bit sweeter, isn't it? Um, so I've been watering pretty much every other day. Soil is nice and moist. Ah, that's interesting. Have you checked for bugs? Um, have any of you had success with sweet potato? I've never done well with sweet potatoes. My brother managed to grow a few plants last year, but he's not around at the minute, so I've not been successful with sweet potatoes. If anyone else can help Yusuf, then please help him. Um, so how far back am I? Anyone growing okra this year? I failed horribly at okra this year. Shams, watch you on Gardener's World. Well done for getting on it. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. It's a nice little tick in my box. I'm very happy with that. When Chard is cooked, its texture is too slimy for me. Okay. See, I like it cooked with prawns. Do you know if you cook it, sort of I don't know what they call it, but you you cook it and it lets off a load of water. So you drain that water and cook it after that. It's not as bad. Does anyone grow basil outside? I've got a few basil plants in pots outside at the moment, and they've stayed outside, and they'll be going in and around my tomatoes and in and around my squash in the next few weeks. Uh, so what else is going on? Mine has. So I saw your gorgeous French beans. I want to see the results of the trial for sure. I want to see which one does better actually, because if the ones in the ground do better, then I'm going to stop growing them in pots, unless apart from the few in very early April, just so we get that head start. I'm going to stop growing them in pots. And I think I might have got to the. I think I've just caught up the chat. Where'd you get your gardening inspiration from? Did your parents grow vegetables? Do your family enjoy your produce? Uh, yes. Um, see, we are from gardening stock. We are from farming stock. My parents and their parents in Bangladesh, they grew all they were farmers. They grew their own vegetables, own fruit, all of that sort of stuff. Some of my earliest memories were running around in the allotments when my dad was, digging, working on his allotment. And I remember the first time I ever saw trench composting was when watching my dad. He dug out a massive ditch, probably half his allotment site. He dug it all out and then just filled it with horse manure, loads and loads of horse manure, and then he covered it up and then just grew on top of that. So yeah, that's one of my earliest memories, and yeah, so and most of the stuff that I talk about, it's knowledge that's been passed on from my mum, and you might hear me in the odd video when I'm stuck, and I don't know what to do. I'll just turn around and say, "Mum, what do I do now?" um, So Tony's here. Tony, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Simplified Gardening, absolute legend. um, you got the knowledge. See that I've learnt myself. Do you know the composting and stuff? Yeah, I love that. I love my composting. Do you know it took ages for me to learn how to do composting properly. And there's there's a guy who was over in Ireland. I'm trying to think. Grow with Nature or something like that. His channel is, but he's out in somewhere in Asia at the minute, and he's moved out there. But or Work with Nature is what his channel was called, and I learnt how to do my very first hot compost pile watching him, and yeah, so I messaged him. I messaged him a few months back saying, um, you do you know what? I learned to do my very first hot compost pile watching you, and thanks very much. Um, that pool video of yours might be the funniest ever. See it. I just wish we got all the other bits on camera, because there was at one point where I fell into it. I chucked a load. I shoveled some and I threw it, and it sort of splattered and into my mouth, and that was disgusting. Yeah, it was absolutely disgusting.
What was it?
Horse pool. Have you managed to grow a sizable amount of tomatoes successfully? Have you ever grown them in the ground? Um, Not last year, but the year before, we grew tons of tomatoes, loads and loads of tomatoes. It was the year before I started YouTubing. So last year was the first summer I did YouTube, and the year before that, we did loads of tomatoes in the ground, and they did absolutely amazing. We did these ones called, they weren't money maker. Were they money maker? They weren't a cherry tomato, but they were slightly big. They were slightly bigger than a cherry tomato. Uh, Look, that sounds like I'm farting. Don't do that. So my wife's getting, spraying the mousse, and it sounds like I'm doing something a bit, yeah. um, yeah. So we did. Most of my tomatoes are outside in the ground. Some are in pots, and I hardly grow any tomatoes in the greenhouse because I don't have space. The greenhouse is solely for my chilies and for my aubergines and those kind of things. Drops Family Garden is here. How are you doing? Did you get the notification today, or did you manage to just use the force? Just got down planting some salsify. Done planting some. What's salsify? What can we use instead of fish blood and bone? See, Ismail, you can make your own fish blood and bone. I've got a video on making bone meal, but blood. Do you know anytime you eat meat or eat fish or eat chicken, do you know when you wash it, use the bloody water from that. Um, if you ever have a barbecue, just chuck in the bones after you finish the barbecue and let them all burn down, and that'll become really bitter. You can just chuck that in. Um, you can use, do you know, if you ever eat fish, the scales of the fish, the skin of the fish, that can all go in. Um, so if you have a look at one video that I've done on how to make your own fish blood and bone, it's from last year. Have a look at that. I just took just chicken scraps, ground them up, and I put them in a bucket with worms in, and then 6 months later I use that. So I start making my fertilizer for next year, just that kind of fertilizer for next year. So I'll start making that during the winter. So I'll make you know specific things like that I've used meat products, and I've composted them down specifically uh, to make that sort of stuff. So managed to get some free wood chip delivered to the allotments, using it to suppress weed and the fruit. Nice one, nice one. See, I'm all for using wood chips. I'm all for using wood chips. Yeah, you know, I love it. You know, I love it. uh, See, someone mentioned, who was it who mentioned about my age earlier? Do I look old? um, See, my son asked me earlier, would I rather be 32 or 64? I don't know where the numbers came from, and and I don't know where he got those two ages from. So I said 30, 32, and he says to me, "Why do you want to be younger? Do you wish you were? Why do you wish you were younger?" So he's a cheeky little boy. So yeah, chicken pellets is good. Calcified seaweed is good. Uh, so Tony didn't get a notification as well. I'm not happy with that. I don't know what to do about it, Tony, because I'm telling people to subscribe and unsubscribe and all that business. Ring the bell, don't ring the bell, do that sort of stuff, and it's still not making a difference. People just aren't getting the notifications. I don't know what to do about it. Jerry Ackland's here. How are you doing? Uh, oh, I think I just missed a big. What's going on? Falling behind. I use chicken pellets, Epsom salts, tomato feed, powdered eggshells, and dried banana. I think you've got everything you need. I don't think you need the bloodfish and bone. I think you do fertilizer. I use your chicken. Oh, salsify is a relative of the parsnip. Is a delicious, versatile winter vegetable. It belongs to the dandelion and is also known as the oyster plant. I'm gonna have a look at that. I think that's the first time I've even heard of it. Sufia Zia, Assalamu alaikum. Thought I'd drop by to say hello, even though what? No, say hello to everyone. Sorry. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. So, Dean thinks I'm old. I know because I'm older than you. I've got a lot of work to do at the plot. I've been busy on a very big project. That sounds very nice. See, whenever he says he's on a big project, you know that there's something exciting going to happen. Um, Hang on, what's going on here? Let's have a look. Uh, do I look old? Yeah, I wish I was in my 30s. uh, Brian's gonna be calling me granddad from now on. YouTube's alone unto themselves. I think they are. I think they are. I think they just make the rules up because they send out, these little, in your analytics, it says it sent out loads of notifications. But if I ask the people who subscribe to me, it hasn't sent out any they'll tell me they haven't received a notification. So it's a strange one. So Catherine got no notification. That's all right. Am I bold? A little bit. Um, Sounds like I'm getting interviewed to get married, actually. um, so it's lagging lots. Um, I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. Have I come back? Am I still lagging or am I all right? Saltify used to be eaten hundreds of years ago by European and American pioneers. It was a staple. It was a staple versus potatoes because it grows in extremely poor soil. Monan Al Asad is here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. How are your plants surviving with that wind? Uh, I will share that Irish cucumber growing tutorial. Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine. So no So Jane didn't get a notification. Sophia got a notification. Marriage. What do you think of seaweed fertilizer? I love it. I love it. If you can get your own seaweed and make it, it's really easy to make. If you can get hold of seaweed, if you can't use seaweed from the sea, you can use seaweed from streams and ponds. That sort of seaweed, it just won't have the salt content, and some of the nutrients will be different. But you can still use the same stuff from the fresh water, and it's almost as good. Um, So Dean's lost the plot. I've clicked all, but still not getting them. I don't know, Tony. I think YouTube's trying to keep us apart. Maybe I'll try in next season. Hub got some hub home garden time here. Uh, Hope, take care, and we'll see you soon. Um, so you did get a notification. That's all right. Uh, His video is very laggy. The video is very laggy today. I don't know why. It's showing that I'm on full signal, and I'm on home Wi-Fi as well. So I'm not on. I'm not using my data, so I don't know what's that going. Uh, so I'm not getting married again unless the woman is. The notification reminded me I normally have an hour's kip and miss this. Now I'm sleeping up to 12 hours a day. Are you doing that because of the new medication, because of your medication, or is that in you because of lockdown and stuff? Damn, there goes that proposal. Yusuf asked if seaweed is effective. I like it. I like it. I really like it. I do like it. Is it sunny where you are? Today's been overcast. We've had very short sunny spells, very brief showers. Yeah, it's just been generally overcast, but very very windy, very very windy. You all should look up Salsify. If your garden gets raided in a food shortage, they won't even know that it's food. That's what my prepper tip is today. Um, See, I'm gonna have a look at this Salsify stuff and see what it's all about. Uh, so it's raining in Wales. I want some more rain. I really do. I want it to proper. You know, I want the ground to be proper soaking, and then I want loads of sun. So I want a nice rainy patch. I want the wind to stop, the rain to start, and then I just want lots and lots of sun after that. I'm not asking for much, am I? We know we know how you grow the big vegetables, but how do you grow your humongous biceps? um, um, just work in the garden, I guess. But I don't think I've got big biceps or anything like that at all. Yeah. Um, Seaweed's effective against radiation, like potassium iodine. That's an interesting one. So it's been stop raining in Leicester all day. Thing is, we've had that, but it hasn't been proper rain. Do you know? It hasn't been real rain. I saw a tray of salsify, but nothing came up. McGregor family is here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Is subscribing now. That's awesome. That's lovely to hear. How are you keeping? Tell us a little bit about yourself. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the live, so introduce yourself. That would be very nice. I was told the other day that I disappeared from the subscription and they'd missed a load of my videos and had to subscribe again. See, that happened to Brian with me. Do you know, Brian missed a couple of lives and he said, I'm not getting notifications. And then he said he'd been unsubscribed. So I don't know what YouTube does, you know. So it's pouring down with Sufis. I would like lovely warm sun in the day and rain at night. I second that. I like that. I like that sort of idea. Um, I'll plant some in front of the home and it came up. Anyone get lots of rain? First 2 weeks of June bad for the peonies. That's what, do you know. One of my peonies flowered, Susie, last year for the first time. It's like this really pink magenta type of colour, and it flowered for the first time last year. And then the rains came, and as soon as the rains come, then you know peonies, they shrivel up and they just go floppy and flat. So, and it's done it again this year. So you always know the culprit if your garden is raided and the Jerusalem artichokes are nicked. You just follow around the sound of the passing wind. Hopefully I'm gonna try Jerusalem artichokes for the first time. Kelly gave me some last year. I grew them and I've overwintered them, and they're growing. I've got loads growing, so hopefully I'm gonna try them for the first time this year. I planted some sunflowers and salsify around the chicken coop to break the wind and act as a barrier. Salsify looks like grass when it comes. Ah, okay. I've checked, still subbed and clicked and not getting them. I think they just do what they want to. Tony, I think they're just trying to keep us apart. But do you know what? What does that song say? They'll never keep us apart. um, and that's my best singing voice, by the way. I'm not. I don't sing, so yeah, no requests. Why does your channel have more views? Why doesn't your channel have more views? You should have millions. That's a lovely thing to say. I wish I had millions. Um, you can tell people to watch my channel if you want. If you can tell your friends, tell your enemies, as Bish says, tell everyone you know. That'd be good. uh, I get all my seeds from the True Leaf Market. Don't know if they ship overseas. Um, Last week there was another chap on here from Leicester. Can anyone remember his name? There's a few from Leicester. Sam's Allotment Diaries from Leicester as well. Um, I can get seed, but sort of talking about salsify. Okay, but YouTube just crashed. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but YouTube just crashed, and hopefully I'm back. I really hope I'm back because we normally, yeah. So it does that a couple of times. It's done that before where it's just sort of kicked me out and then yeah. So it's not Sam's allotment diary. There's another guy who's after some help with his plants. Let's see. Let me. Who else is from Leicester? Um, so Sophia, did you type something? Yeah, I typed the buffer insert. How'd you get that buffer? That's clever. That. Let's see where we're at. Um, I'm gonna plant some yarrow, hyssop, lavender in the front as a barrier from the road. Uh, can I sow all year round cauliflower now? I lost my first sowing. Guys, someone help with Ashley's cauliflower because I'm not a very good brassica man. I don't grow much brassicas, so I don't grow cabbages or cauliflowers and stuff like that. So someone help, if anyone knows um, the answer to Ashley's question, what do you think about growing tea? I think growing tea is a good idea. If you can get a plant, I think it's a really good idea. Um, yeah, apparently the British climate's not so bad for growing tea. So, but it's hard work processing it to get it to a stage where you can actually drink it. Uh, so the emoji icon in the chat. Ah, okay. Sorry, Monty, got to go. Have a great evening. Jane, you have a great evening. You take care, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much for coming in. I call you from September now. So there you go, Ashley. You can grow cauliflower now. Um, have any of you tried cool down tea or green tea on your plants as fertilizer? Um, no, but I do use tea leaves, and I do. But I add tea leaves to my compost, and do you know the dregs from a normal cup of tea? I'll chuck that into my water. I use a lot of grey water to water my plants. So someone asked me about watering earlier. So I use a lot of grey water to water my plants. Um, so I'll just add it to my grey water bucket and just chuck that on my plants. Do you know if anything grows after September and into winter? Um, See, September, October time is when I start planting my garlic. You can plant onions. Um, at that, you can plant your winter onions, and that will grow into next spring. Um, there are some other things. So, anyone else got any suggestions? Uh, I use azomite rock dust. It's natural and the best rock dust you can buy. Ian Jane is here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Paula Snaith is here. How are you doing? Thank you both very much for coming in. I think you're both new to the chat. You're very welcome, and I'm very pleased you're here. The weather does look gloomy, but hopefully, it might start warming up after Tuesday. I just hope it's not a repeat of last year. Grey water. So grey water is just your leftover water from washing up. So we just have a bowl in the sink. So do our washing up in that bowl, and then we'll just use that water that's left over in the bowl to wash, to water our plants. So what you end up with is loads and loads of nutrients from, all your food and all this waste, and you're not wasting all that water, on your plants. So we use loads and loads of grey water. Um, so yeah, grey water is defined as anything that's not black water, and black water is defined as anything that's got human feces in. So anything else is grey water. Um, I'm planning on growing Brussels sprouts to grow into winter. All hungry crops. Most of mine are sown. How does garlic grow in a garden differ from store garlic? Um, how does it differ? I don't know how it differs, but it doesn't cost you as much. That's for sure. Um, I only drink green tea and throw the cold tea bags on top of the tubs when they're empty. Um, so azomite is highly mineralized complex silica, hydrated sodium, something something, mined in Utah from ancient deposit left by volcanic eruption. Now that's a definition for you. Um, how about water from your condenser dryer? Is that good for? What's a condenser dryer? What's a condenser dryer? I don't know what that is. Is that your clothes dryer? Um, Dean, you take care, mate. I think we're going to call it a day here as well very soon. As soon as I find out what a condenser dryer is. Um, so yeah, you take care, and we'll see you next week. I mean, size, taste, wise, garlic versus store garlic. Also have you grown ginger. I've got some really good videos on growing ginger actually. So you should check those out. I've got some ginger. I've got I've got I've got multiple plants from one piece of root. So yeah, there's a few videos on growing ginger. I've got um, some of my garlic is last year I grew some garlic, and I'm not talking about elephant garlic, but normal white garlic. And it was almost the size of my fist. So it was doing. So we've had some good results with garlic over the years. You really need to always check the acidity of your soil for the plant you're trying to grow. That's the first step in why your plants might not be growing well, along with moisture and soil content. Absolutely right, Drop. So pH, you can have all the fertilizer you want, but if the pH isn't right, this plant doesn't have the ability to take up the nutrients. So what Drop said is absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. I totally agree with that. Tumble dryer, but the one that collects water in tray and not in the. See, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It'll have a lot of hard soaps in there, so I don't know about that. I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use it on my food plants. I might use it on the hedge or something like that. I if that's the way it's working, I don't know, but definitely from your kitchen sink, I'd use that. Uh, right, 4 weeks today since I started my ginger, and it's still no show. Um, no, don't chuck it away. Don't chuck it away. Keep it warm. It'll pop up. I guarantee you, it'll pop up. It'll take some time. It'll pop up. Uh, so Midnight Gardeners here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I left a chunk of ginger in a tub of water and forgot about it and went proper rotten. Can't look at ginger again for a while. Oh, so that's how that's how rotten it went. Right, guys, we've got 29 people. We've got 39 likes. If you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like. But I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to say bye to everyone at this stage. We've been on for an hour, just over an hour, with a few interruptions in the middle. So I apologise for them. And I don't know what to say. Well, right, I'm not going to do that longest goodbye stuff. I'm just going to say I'll catch you next week, same time, same place. We're here every Saturday, 8 o'clock. If you like coming in for a bit of banter, a bit of a laugh, this is the place to be. So I'll leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.